Have you ever felt like life has knocked you down so hard that you don't know if you can get back up? Like the weight of the world is crushing your spirit and draining your soul? I know I have. I've faced some of the darkest moments imaginable, moments where the pain seemed endless and the future looked bleak. But here's what I've learned: pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher, your guide, your catalyst for transformation. And if you can learn to embrace it, to alchemize it, to turn that pain into power, then there's nothing you can't overcome, nothing you can't achieve, nothing you can't become. You see, pain is a universal human experience. It's the great equalizer that connects us all, regardless of our background or circumstances. And yet, so often we try to avoid it, numb it, or push it away. We see pain as a sign of weakness, a mark of failure, a badge of shame. But what if we could reframe our relationship with pain? What if we could see it not as a sentence, but as an opportunity to grow, to evolve, to transcend our limitations and step into our highest potential? That's the message I want to share with you today. The message that your pain is not a punishment, but a portal. A doorway to a deeper understanding of yourself, your purpose, and your place in the world. And the key to unlocking that portal is to turn your pain into power. But how do you do that? How do you take the darkest, most challenging experiences of your life and use them as fuel for your fire, as the very thing that propels you forward? It starts with a shift in perspective, a reframing of your story and your identity. You see, we all have a choice in how we interpret and respond to the experiences of our lives. We can choose to see ourselves as victims, as powerless and broken by the hardships we faced. Or we can choose to see ourselves as warriors, as survivors, as the heroes of our own journey. We can choose to find the lesson, the growth, the opportunity in every challenge and use it to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. I've seen this truth play out in countless stories of individuals who have faced unimaginable adversity and used it as a catalyst for transformation. People who have survived abuse, addiction, illness, loss, and come out the other side with a deeper sense of purpose, a fiercer determination, and an unwavering commitment to making a difference in the world. One such story is that of a young woman named Sarah. Sarah grew up in a household marked by poverty, neglect, and violence. Her father was an alcoholic who regularly beat her mother, and Sarah often found herself caught in the crossfire. She struggled in school, battled depression and anxiety, and felt like she had no one to turn to for support or guidance. But despite all the pain and trauma she faced, Sarah refused to let it define her. She refused to see herself as a victim, and instead chose to use her struggles as a source of strength and motivation. She poured herself into her studies, earning scholarships and accolades, and eventually graduated at the top of her class. And that was just the beginning. Sarah went on to become a leading advocate for survivors of domestic violence, using her own story as a platform to raise awareness, inspire change, and empower others to break free from the cycle of abuse. She turned her pain into power and used it to create a life of purpose, meaning, and impact. So how can you do the same? How can you alchemize your own pain into a force for good, into the very thing that propels you towards your dreams? Here are a few key strategies that I've found to be incredibly powerful in my own journey and in the lives of countless others who have turned their pain into power. The first is to practice radical acceptance. This means acknowledging and accepting the reality of your pain without judgment or resistance. It means letting go of the stories and the beliefs that keep you stuck in victimhood and instead embracing the truth of your experience with compassion and courage. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to like your pain or that you shouldn't feel angry, sad, or frustrated by the challenges you faced. Those emotions are all valid and necessary parts of the healing process. But radical acceptance means recognizing that your pain is not who you are. It's something you've experienced, something you've survived, but it doesn't define your worth or your potential. When you practice radical acceptance, you create space for healing and growth. You stop fighting against the reality of your pain and instead start working with it, learning from it, and using it as a catalyst for transformation. This brings me to the second key strategy for turning pain into power, reframing your story. You see, the stories we tell ourselves about our experiences shape our reality in profound ways. If we tell ourselves that we are broken, helpless, or unworthy because of the pain we faced, then that becomes our truth. But if we can reframe our story, if we can find the meaning, the purpose, the growth in our struggles, then we open ourselves up to incredible possibilities. One of the most powerful reframes is to see your pain as a teacher, as a guide, as a messenger from your highest self. When you look at your challenges through this lens, you start to see them not as punishments or failures, but as opportunities for learning and evolution. I think of the story of a man named Michael. Michael was a successful businessman who had it all: a thriving company, a beautiful family, a life of luxury and ease. But beneath the surface, he was struggling with a deep sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction. He felt like he was just going through the motions, chasing success and status without any real sense of purpose or meaning. And then tragedy struck. Michael's youngest daughter was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of cancer. The next 2 years were a blur of hospital stays, chemo treatments, and agonizing uncertainty. Michael's world was turned upside down, and he found himself grappling with a pain and a fear he had never known before. But in the midst of that darkness, something incredible happened. Michael started to see his life and his priorities in a whole new light. He realized that all the success and material possessions he had been chasing meant nothing compared to the love and connection he felt for his family. He started to question his values, his goals, his very identity, and he began to see his daughter's illness not as a curse, but as a wake-up call. Michael quit his job, downsized his life, and devoted himself fully to supporting his daughter and his family. He started volunteering at the hospital, connecting with other families facing similar struggles, and using his business skills to raise money for cancer research. He found a sense of purpose and meaning he had never known before, and he realized that it was only through the pain of his daughter's illness that he was able to wake up to what truly mattered. Michael's story is a powerful example of how reframing your pain can open up new possibilities for growth and transformation. By seeing his daughter's cancer as a teacher, as a guide, as a messenger from his highest self, Michael was able to turn his pain into power and use it to create a life of purpose and meaning. So what is the story you're telling yourself about your own pain? How can you reframe it in a way that empowers and inspires you? How can you find the lesson, the growth, the opportunity in your struggles and use them to fuel your purpose and your passion? The third key strategy for turning pain into power is to cultivate a growth mindset. This means embracing challenges and failures as opportunities for learning and development, rather than as indictments of your worth or ability. When you have a growth mindset, you understand that your abilities and intelligence are not fixed traits, but qualities that can be developed and strengthened over time. You see effort and perseverance as the keys to success rather than innate talent or luck. And when you face setbacks or obstacles, you don't see them as evidence of your inadequacy, but as valuable feedback that can help you improve and grow. You approach challenges with curiosity and openness, asking yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use it to become better, stronger, wiser? Cultivating a growth mindset is especially important when it comes to dealing with pain and adversity. Because let's face it, life is full of challenges and setbacks, and no one is immune to suffering. But when you have a growth mindset, you understand that your pain is not a reflection of your worth or your potential. It's simply a part of the human experience, a chance to learn and grow and become more resilient. I've seen this mindset work wonders in my own life and in the lives of countless others. When I was younger, I struggled with crippling anxiety and self-doubt. I felt like I was never good enough, never smart enough, never worthy of love or success. And every setback or failure just seemed to confirm those beliefs, sending me into a spiral of shame and despair. But then something shifted. I started to learn about the power of mindset and the idea that my thoughts and beliefs could shape my reality. I started to challenge my negative self-talk, to reframe my failures as opportunities for growth, and to embrace challenges as chances to learn and evolve. And slowly but surely, I started to see myself and my potential in a whole new light. I remember one particularly pivotal moment when I was facing a major setback in my career. I had poured my heart and soul into a project only to have it fall apart at the last minute. I was devastated, and my first instinct was to blame myself, to see it as proof of my own inadequacy and worthlessness. But then I remembered the growth mindset. I took a step back and I asked myself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use it to become better, stronger, wiser? And as I reflected on that question, I started to see the situation in a new light. I realized that the failure of the project wasn't a reflection of my worth as a person, but simply a chance to learn and improve. I identified the mistakes I had made, the skills I needed to develop, the relationships I needed to strengthen. And I used that knowledge to create a plan for moving forward, for taking action and making progress, even in the face of setbacks and challenges. And you know what? It worked. By cultivating a growth mindset, I was able to turn that painful failure into a powerful catalyst for growth and transformation. I developed new skills, built stronger relationships, and ultimately achieved success beyond anything I had imagined possible. So if you're facing pain or adversity right now, I want to encourage you to embrace a growth mindset. To see your challenges not as indictments of your worth, but as opportunities for learning and development. To approach setbacks with curiosity and openness, asking yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use it to become better, stronger, wiser? Because here's the thing, turning pain into power is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong journey, a daily practice of choosing to see your struggles as opportunities, your failures as feedback, your pain as a portal to growth and transformation. It's not always easy. There will be days when the pain feels overwhelming, when the challenges seem insurmountable, when the doubts and fears threaten to drown out your dreams and your purpose. But in those moments, remember this, you are stronger than you know. You have within you the power to overcome any obstacle, to rise above any challenge, to turn your deepest pain into your greatest strength. But it starts with a choice to embrace your pain, to reframe your story, to cultivate a growth mindset, a choice to keep moving forward, to take action, to lean into your discomfort and your fear, and to trust in your own resilience and potential. And as you make that choice day after day, you will start to see your life transform in incredible ways. You will develop a deeper sense of purpose and meaning, a fiercer determination and resilience, a more profound connection to yourself and others. You will become the hero of your own story, the creator of your own destiny, the alchemist who turns pain into power and suffering into strength. So let me ask you this, what is the pain that you're carrying right now? What are the struggles and challenges that are weighing you down, that are holding you back from living the life you truly desire? And more importantly, what are you going to do about it? Because you have a choice. You can let your pain define you, limit you, control you, or you can choose to use it as a catalyst for growth, for transformation, for becoming the best version of yourself. You can choose to turn your pain into power, your struggles into strength, your setbacks into stepping stones on the path to your greatest potential. It won't be easy. It will require courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face your fears and your doubts head on. But I promise you this, it will be worth it. Because on the other side of that pain, on the other side of that struggle, is a life of purpose and meaning, of joy and fulfillment, of impact and legacy. So take that first step. Embrace your pain, reframe your story, cultivate a growth mindset, and trust that with each step, with each choice, with each moment of courage and determination, you are turning your pain into power and creating a life of incredible possibility and potential. I know that this journey of transformation can feel lonely at times. When you're in the depths of pain and struggle, it can be easy to feel like you're the only one who's suffering, the only one who's facing challenges and setbacks. But I want you to know that you are not alone, that there are countless others who have walked this path before you, who have turned their pain into power and their struggles into strength. One of the most powerful ways to connect with that sense of community and support is to seek out the stories and the wisdom of those who have gone before you. To read the books, listen to the podcasts, attend the workshops and retreats of people who have faced their own pain and come out the other side with insights and strategies to share. When I was in the midst of my own journey of transformation, I found incredible solace and guidance in the words and teachings of thought leaders and change makers from all walks of life. From spiritual teachers to business leaders, from artists to activists, I discovered a wealth of wisdom and inspiration that helped me to keep moving forward, even in the face of my deepest doubts and fears. And one of the most powerful lessons I learned from these teachers was the importance of self-compassion. You see, when we're in the midst of pain and struggle, it can be so easy to fall into patterns of self-criticism and self-judgment, to beat ourselves up for our failures and shortcomings, to see our pain as a sign of weakness or inadequacy. But the truth is, self-criticism only serves to compound our suffering. It keeps us stuck in cycles of shame and self-doubt and prevents us from accessing the inner resources and resilience we need to heal and grow. Self-compassion, on the other hand, is the practice of treating ourselves with kindness, understanding, and forgiveness. It's about recognizing that we are all human, that we all make mistakes and face challenges, and that our pain is not a reflection of our worth or our value. When we practice self-compassion, we create a safe and nurturing space for healing and growth. We give ourselves permission to feel our feelings, to honor our struggles, and to treat ourselves with the same care and concern we would offer to a dear friend or loved one. And as we extend that compassion to ourselves, we begin to develop a deeper sense of inner peace and resilience. We find the courage to face our fears, the strength to overcome our obstacles, and the wisdom to turn our pain into power. So if you're struggling with self-criticism or self-judgment right now, I want to invite you to practice self-compassion, to treat yourself with kindness and understanding, to forgive yourself for your mistakes and shortcomings, and to recognize that your pain is a natural and normal part of the human experience. And as you do, remember that you are not alone, that there are countless others who have walked this path before you, who have turned their pain into power and their struggles into strength. Seek out their stories and their wisdom, and let them guide and inspire you on your own journey of transformation. Another key lesson I've learned on this journey is the importance of taking action. You see, it's one thing to embrace our pain, to reframe our stories, to cultivate a growth mindset. But if we don't take action, if we don't put those insights and strategies into practice, then we stay stuck in the same patterns of suffering and struggle. Taking action can be scary. It requires us to step outside our comfort zones, to face our fears and doubts head on, to risk failure and rejection and disappointment. But it's also the only way to create real and lasting change in our lives. So what does taking action look like when it comes to turning pain into power? It might mean seeking out therapy or coaching, joining a support group or community, or investing in your own personal growth and development. It might mean setting boundaries, speaking your truth, or advocating for yourself and your needs. It might mean taking risks, trying new things, or pursuing your passions and dreams with renewed vigor and determination. The specific actions will look different for each of us, depending on our unique circumstances and challenges. But the underlying principle is the same: to keep moving forward, to take one small step at a time, to trust in the power of consistent and courageous action to transform our lives and our world. And as we take those steps, as we face our fears and embrace our pain and cultivate a growth mindset, something incredible starts to happen. We begin to see our struggles not as obstacles, but as opportunities. We begin to find meaning and purpose in our pain, to use it as fuel for our growth and our transformation. I think of the countless stories of people who have turned their deepest wounds into their greatest gifts. The recovering addicts who become powerful advocates for healing and recovery. The survivors of abuse who become fierce champions for justice and change. You're about to walk into a room full of strangers, your heart is pounding, your palms are sweaty, and your mind is racing with all the ways this could go wrong. You're convinced that everyone in that room is more qualified, more confident, and more deserving of success than you are. Sound familiar? Well, I'm here to tell you that confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you can cultivate and master with practice and perseverance. And today, I'm going to share with you the secrets to forcing yourself to be confident, even when every fiber of your being is telling you to run and hide. First and foremost, let's get one thing straight. Confidence is not about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about believing in yourself and your abilities, even in the face of uncertainty and doubt. It's about taking risks, embracing failure, and growing from every experience, no matter how challenging or uncomfortable it may be. So how do you force yourself to be confident? It all starts with your mindset. You see, our thoughts and beliefs have a powerful impact on our emotions and behaviors. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough, guess what? You'll start to believe it, and it will show in every aspect of your life. But if you start to reframe those negative thoughts and focus on your strengths, your accomplishments, and your potential, something incredible starts to happen. You start to feel more empowered, more resilient, and more confident in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. So the first step to forcing yourself to be confident is to cultivate a growth mindset. Embrace the idea that you are always learning, growing, and evolving. And that every challenge is an opportunity to stretch beyond your comfort zone and discover what you're truly capable of. Start by setting small, achievable goals for yourself and celebrating every milestone along the way. Focus on your progress, not just your end result, and remember that every setback is a chance to learn and improve. Next, let's talk about body language. Did you know that the way you carry yourself can have a huge impact on how others perceive you and how you feel about yourself? It's true. Studies have shown that simply adopting a confident posture, standing tall, shoulders back, chin up, can actually boost your testosterone levels and decrease your cortisol levels, making you feel more powerful and self-assured. So the next time you're feeling nervous or unsure, take a moment to check in with your body. Are you slouching, crossing your arms, or avoiding eye contact? If so, make a conscious effort to straighten up, uncross your arms, and look people in the eye. Smile, even if you don't feel like it. And watch as your confidence starts to grow. But body language is just the beginning. To truly force yourself to be confident, you need to start taking action, even when you don't feel ready or qualified. You see, confidence is not about waiting until you feel 100% prepared or certain of success. It's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway, knowing that every experience is a chance to learn and grow. So start saying yes to opportunities that scare you. Volunteer for that project at work, even if you're not sure you have the skills. Attend that networking event, even if the thought of small talk makes you cringe. Sign up for that class or workshop, even if you're worried about looking foolish in front of others. And as you take action, remember to celebrate your successes and learn from your failures. Don't beat yourself up over every misstep or mistake. Instead, view them as valuable lessons and opportunities for growth. And most importantly, don't compare yourself to others or try to be someone you're not. Confidence is about embracing your unique strengths and qualities and showing up as your authentic self in every situation. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I've tried all of this before and it hasn't worked. I still feel like an imposter, like I don't belong, like I'm just waiting to be found out, and believe me, I get it. Confidence is not something that happens overnight, and there will be times when you feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But here's the thing, confidence is a muscle. And like any muscle, it gets stronger with practice and repetition. The more you force yourself to take risks, face your fears, and show up as your authentic self, the more natural and effortless it will become. And the good news is, you don't have to do it alone. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, who support and encourage you, and who challenge you to be your best self. Seek out mentors and role models who embody the kind of confidence you aspire to and learn from their example. And most importantly, be patient and kind with yourself. Confidence is not about being perfect or having it all figured out. It's about accepting yourself, flaws and all, and trusting in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. So the next time you're feeling nervous or unsure, remember this: confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you can cultivate and master with practice and perseverance. Force yourself to take action even when you don't feel ready. Embrace your unique strengths and qualities and show up as your authentic self in every situation. And most importantly, believe in yourself and your ability to handle whatever comes your way, because when you do, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Now, I want to take a moment to address some of the common obstacles and objections that people face when trying to force themselves to be confident. Because let's face it, it's not always easy to put these principles into practice, especially when we're up against a lifetime of negative self-talk and limiting beliefs. One of the biggest obstacles to confidence is perfectionism. So many of us have this idea that we need to be flawless, that we need to have all the answers and never make a mistake in order to be worthy of success and respect. But the truth is, perfectionism is a trap. It keeps us stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and self-sabotage, always striving for an impossible standard that we can never quite reach. So how do you overcome perfectionism and force yourself to be confident? Start by reframing your definition of success. Instead of focusing on external validation or flawless performance, focus on growth, learning, and self-improvement. Celebrate your progress, not just your end result, and remember that every mistake is an opportunity to learn and grow. Another common obstacle to confidence is the fear of failure. We're so afraid of looking foolish, of being rejected or humiliated, that we'd rather play it safe and stick to what we know, even if it means missing out on incredible opportunities and experiences. But here's the thing: failure is not the opposite of success. It's a necessary part of the process. Every successful person you admire has failed, and failed often. The difference is they didn't let those failures define them or hold them back. They learned from them, grew from them, and used them as fuel to keep pushing forward. So how do you overcome the fear of failure and force yourself to be confident? Start by reframing your relationship with failure. Instead of seeing it as a personal defect or a sign of weakness, see it as a natural and inevitable part of the learning process. Embrace the idea that failure is not the end, but rather a stepping stone on the path to success. And when you do fail, because you will, don't beat yourself up or wallow in self-pity. Take a deep breath, dust yourself off, and ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this setback to grow and improve? Remember, confidence is not about being perfect or never failing. It's about believing in yourself and your ability to handle whatever comes your way, even when things don't go as planned. Another common obstacle to confidence is comparison. We live in a world where we're constantly bombarded with images of perfection and success, whether it's on social media, in the media, or in our own personal and professional circles. And it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others and feeling like we don't measure up. But here's the thing: comparison is a losing game. There will always be someone who seems to have it all figured out, who seems to be further ahead or more successful than we are. But the truth is, we're all on our own unique journey with our own strengths, challenges, and experiences. So how do you overcome comparison and force yourself to be confident? Start by focusing on your own path, your own progress, and your own definition of success. Instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to who you were yesterday and celebrate how far you've come. And when you do find yourself falling into the comparison trap, remind yourself that everyone struggles, everyone has doubts and fears and insecurities. The difference is, confident people don't let those things hold them back. They acknowledge them, learn from them, and keep moving forward, even when it's hard. Finally, I want to talk about the power of vulnerability. So often we equate confidence with invincibility, with the idea that we need to be unshakable, unflappable, and always in control. But the truth is, vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. It's the courage to be honest about our fears, our doubts, and our struggles, and to let others see us as we truly are. And when we embrace vulnerability, something incredible happens. We create deeper, more authentic connections with others. We give ourselves permission to be human, to make mistakes, to ask for help when we need it. And we inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of courage and compassion that can change the world. So how do you embrace vulnerability and force yourself to be confident? Start by being honest with yourself and others about your fears, your doubts, and your challenges. Don't try to hide behind a facade of affection or invincibility. Let people see the real you, flaws and all. And when you do share your vulnerabilities, don't apologize or make excuses for them. Own them, learn from them, and use them as a source of strength and resilience. Because when you do, you'll find that you're not alone, that everyone struggles and everyone has moments of doubt and fear. And most importantly, remember that vulnerability is not a one-time event, it's a lifelong practice. It's the courage to keep showing up, keep being honest, and keep letting others in, even when it's hard. So as we come to the end of our time together today, I want to leave you with a challenge. I want you to take one small step towards forcing yourself to be confident, even if it scares you. Maybe it's speaking up at a meeting or reaching out to someone you admire for advice. Maybe it's trying something new or admitting to a mistake and learning from it. Whatever it is, I want you to remember that confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you can cultivate and master with practice and perseverance. And every small step you take, every risk you face, every fear you overcome is a victory worth celebrating. Because here's the thing, the world needs your unique gifts, your unique perspective, your unique voice. And the only way to share those gifts with the world is to believe in yourself, to show up as your authentic self, and to keep pushing forward even when it's hard. So go out there and force yourself to be confident. Embrace your vulnerabilities, learn from your failures, and celebrate your successes. And most importantly, remember that you are worthy, you are capable, and you are enough just as you are. Thank you for being here today, and remember, the journey to confidence starts with a single step. So take that step and keep going, one day at a time. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, that's all well and good, but what about those days when I just can't seem to muster up the confidence I need? What about those moments when the doubts and fears feel overwhelming and I just want to give up? And believe me, I've been there, we all have. But here's the thing, confidence is not about never feeling afraid or unsure. It's about feeling those things and choosing to take action anyway. It's about recognizing that the only way to build confidence is to face our fears head on and to keep showing up even when it's hard. So, on those days when you're feeling particularly low or discouraged, I want you to remember this: you are not alone. Every single person in this room, every single person watching this video has felt the same way at some point in their lives. And every single one of us has the power to choose how we respond to those feelings. We can choose to let our doubts and fears hold us back, to play it safe and avoid taking risks. Or we can choose to lean into the discomfort, to take a deep breath and take action, even when every fiber of our being is telling us to run and hide. And when we choose the latter, something amazing happens. We start to build resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks and keep moving forward, no matter what life throws our way. We start to develop a sense of self-efficacy, the belief that we have the power to shape our own lives and achieve our goals, even in the face of adversity. And most importantly, we start to inspire others to do the same. Because when we show up as our authentic selves, when we embrace our vulnerabilities and face our fears head on, we give others permission to do the same. We create a ripple effect of courage and confidence that can change lives and change the world. So on those tough days, I want you to remember the power of community. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, who support and encourage you, and who challenge you to be your best self. Seek out mentors and role models who embody the kind of confidence you aspire to and learn from their example. And don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Whether it's a friend, a family member, a therapist, or a coach, there are people out there who want to support you on your journey to confidence. All you have to do is reach out and ask. Remember, confidence is not a solo journey. It's a team effort, a community of people working together to lift each other up and help each other grow. So lean on your support system and be a support system for others. Because together we are stronger, more resilient, and more capable than we ever could be alone. Now, I want to take a moment to address a common myth about confidence, the idea that it's all about self-promotion and ego. So many people equate confidence with arrogance, with the need to constantly prove ourselves and show off our accomplishments. But the truth is, true confidence is not about self-promotion. It's about self-awareness. It's about knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you bring to the table, and being unapologetic about it. It's about being honest about your strengths and your weaknesses, and being willing to put in the work to continue growing and improving. And most importantly, true confidence is about using your gifts and talents to make a positive impact on the world around you. It's about leveraging your unique perspective and experiences to help others, to create something meaningful and valuable, and to leave the world a little bit better than you found it. So as you work on forcing yourself to be confident, I want you to keep this in mind. Confidence is not about being the loudest voice in the room or the most impressive resume on paper. It's about being true to yourself and using your authentic voice to make a difference in the lives of others. And when you approach confidence from this perspective, something incredible happens. You start to attract the right people and opportunities into your life. You start to build genuine, meaningful connections with others who share your values and your vision. And you start to create a life that feels purposeful, fulfilling, and true to who you are. So as you go out into the world and force yourself to be confident, remember this: your confidence is not just about you. It's about the impact you can have on the world around you, the lives you can touch, and the positive change you can create. And when you approach confidence from this perspective, there's no limit to what you can achieve. You have the power to shape your own reality, to create the life you want to live, and to make a difference in the lives of others. All you have to do is believe in yourself, take action, and trust the journey. Now, I know this is a lot to take in, and it's natural to feel overwhelmed or unsure of where to start. But remember, confidence is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about taking small, consistent steps towards your goals and celebrating every victory along the way. So as we wrap up our time together today, I want to leave you with a few practical tips and strategies for forcing yourself to be confident, even when it feels hard. First, start by setting small, achievable goals for yourself. Whether it's speaking up in a meeting or trying a new hobby, break down your bigger goals into smaller, more manageable steps, and celebrate every milestone along the way, no matter how small. Second, practice self-care and self-compassion. Confidence is not about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about treating yourself with kindness and understanding, even when things don't go as planned. So make time for activities that nourish your mind, body, and soul, and remember to be gentle with yourself when you stumble or fall short. Third, surround yourself with positive, supportive people. Confidence is contagious, and when you spend time with people who believe in you and support your goals, it becomes easier to believe in yourself. So seek out mentors, friends, and colleagues who uplift and inspire you, and let go of relationships that drain your energy or hold you back. And finally, remember that confidence is a choice. Every day, every moment, you have the power to choose how you show up in the world. You can choose to let your doubts and fears hold you back, or you can choose to take action, even when it's hard. You're here because you want something more out of life. You're tired of settling for less than you're capable of achieving. You look in the mirror, and you know there is an incredible person inside yearning to be let out and truly live up to their highest potential. But you get stuck in cycles of motivation and complacency. You'll get fired up to chase your dreams, only to quickly lose that enthusiasm and slip back into your old habits and routines. You make promises to yourself that this time will be different, that you're finally going to be consistent. But then life happens, you get distracted, you lose focus, you come up with excuse after excuse for why you can falter just this one time. Can you feel that churning frustration inside as I describe this pattern? The disappointment of not living up to your highest self. I know this because I've been there. We all have. The difference is that some people find a way to break free from that cycle, to force themselves day after day to remain consistent and persistent until their dreams become their reality. That's what I want to instill in you today. Not another brief burst of motivational energy that fizzles out after a week, but a mindset shift, a new way of operating and confronting the inevitable struggles and stumbling blocks that threaten to derail you from your loftiest ambitions. I'm going to get real with you. Pulling yourself out of complacency and maintaining intensity over months and years requires serious work. There will be hurdles, there will be times you question why you're putting yourself through this mental anguish. Your old comfy habits will beckon you to relapse into what's easy. But I'll let you in on a secret. The biggest challenge you face is your own mind. More specifically, how you respond when your mind starts conjuring up reasons to indulge in fleeting comfort over sustainable growth. That little voice that says you've been working hard, you deserve a break, or that rationalizes I can pause this goal for now and revisit it once XYZ circumstances change. That voice inside, left unmanaged, will sabotage you every single time. It will provide endless justifications and loopholes for losing your consistency. So you must be preemptive and steadfast in your commitment. Interrogate the intentions and motivations fueling that voice before it can even take root. When it whispers just this once won't hurt, you need to forcefully respond. That's exactly how complacency settles in through a million tiny compromises accumulated over time crush that voice before it can multiply into paralyzing self-doubt. Staying consistent requires constant vigilance over your thoughts and pouring that internal pressure right back into your burning desires. I don't want to mislead you. This process is brutally difficult, especially at first. Dismantling your procrastinating habits and realigning your mindset towards savage consistency feels like an overwhelming task. But like any muscle, the more you exercise it, the more powerful and effortless it becomes. The momentum and confidence you build from initial small wins will fuel you to maintain that consistency in progressively bigger areas of life. It's a compounding cycle where consistency breeds more consistency through positive reinforcement, just as complacency breeds more complacency when you let it fester. So get radically honest with yourself about the behaviors holding you back. Pinpoint those little moments each day where you make the conscious decision to be inconsistent instead of doing the hard thing. They seem innocent in the moment, but accumulate into missed opportunities and lingering regrets. Did you skip your morning workout routine because you were too tired and decided to sleep in? Inconsistent. Did you get home from work and seek refuge in aimless social media browsing instead of working on that big project? Inconsistent. Did you buy something on impulse that derailed your financial goals, justifying it as a one-time treat? You know where I'm going with this. Your life's landscape is littered with these inconsistencies, these compromises made in seeming insignificance that erode your long-term vision. They seem harmless in isolation, so your mind quickly rationalizes them away as no big deal. But left unchecked, those little moments turn into waiting weeks, months, years to get started. They turn into broken dreams deferred into hollow regrets. Does this resonate? These patterns, no matter how subtle, are your biggest impediments to living in full alignment. So become hyper-aware of them. Observe with brutal self-honesty the moments you catch yourself wanting to procrastinate or indulge in comfortable distractions. Then force yourself through the other side, doing the more difficult thing that your future self will thank you for. It could be something as simple as making yourself go for that evening walk despite feeling lazy, or powering through an outstanding task you've been avoiding before turning on the TV. Build up those small rituals and the positive self-talk to combat your mind's resistance. Understand that this discomfort is necessary, even a good sign you're doing the right thing. Anytime you're exiting your comfort zone, anytime you're doing something requiring willpower, your mind will put up a fight with the path of least resistance. So anticipate that resistance and be ready to power through it intentionally. Don't just passively hope those unproductive voices don't kick in. Assume they absolutely will return and have a plan to obliterate them each time with intensity and purpose. Visualize the reasons and goals motivating your consistency so they are locked and loaded when self-doubt arises. Craft a vivid image of yourself already having achieved the things you crave, whether that's a mindset of unshakable confidence, a body sculpted by years of fitness habits, or a wildly successful business you painstakingly built piece by piece. Allow yourself to emotionally marinate in the fulfillment of having made all those once difficult things your new normal through relentless consistency. Then burn that euphoric feeling into your mind as motivation. Because the discomfort of doing the work pales in comparison to failing and living in regret, constantly wondering what if about your unrealized potential. Whenever you feel that pang of anxiety about leaving your comfort zone, visualize yourself having already crossed to the other side, looking back at your former self paralyzed by indecision. Think of how badly you'll wish to have that opportunity back once it's permanently gone. When those moments of weakness strike, you can either indulge in the instant gratification of complacency or double down on the difficult. One path leads to a cycle of helplessness and frustration. The other, an upward spiral elevating you to operating at your highest level as your best self. I understand if this feels like a tall order right now. Completely rewiring the way you think about consistency from the ground up is hard, among the hardest things you'll encounter in your journey of personal growth and self-actualization. But I can tell you from experience, it is immensely worthwhile. It separates those who are unconsciously consistent about being inconsistent versus consciously consistent about cultivating the life and legacy they yearn for. The choice to fully commit to consistency, especially when it's brutally uncomfortable in the moment, is what allows ordinary individuals to achieve extraordinary results that leave a dent on the world. It breeds resourcefulness where others make excuses, self-assuredness where others are derailed by self-doubt. I think of all the common refrains we hear from those who've climbed the highest mountains, built legendary fortunes, or made lasting impacts in this world. Were they really any more talented or gifted at birth than you? Or did their power emanate from an unusual capacity for consistency and resolve, even when logic argued for complacency? When you cultivate the habits to see your vision through to the end, you become unstoppable. Setbacks are temporary obstacles instead of permanent derailers. Hard work is welcomed as your competitive advantage, not something to be avoided. Discomfort training for higher heights becomes embraced rather than evaded. So I challenge you today to make that internal promise, not a fleeting resolution you've inevitably broken countless times before when motivation wanes, but a binding life philosophy, an identity-level commitment to doing whatever it takes to make consistency your new normal. Your transformation starts now with a simple first step forward instead of postponing for perfect timing that never arrives. Sign a symbolic contract with yourself by raising your hand with me right now as a physical gesture demonstrating you are all in on this mindset shift. Look around you at every individual with their hand proudly raised high as evidence of their devotion to taking command of their legacy. This is your tribe from now on, united on the often arduous but ultimately transcendent path of fulfillment through grit and perseverance. Don't let yourself relapse into the old patterns of rationalization and justification for falling short. When you find yourself drifting off course, remember this moment, remember this audience, and allow that collective energy and spirit to reignite your internal fire. Because the ones who falter and give up only have themselves to blame, while the rare few who sustain their consistency join the immortal ranks of those who use their unlimited potential to positively impact the world around them. That is the choice you make today, the choice to firmly grasp control of your fate through sheer tenacity and refusal to ever be derailed again. You don't need to have all the answers, but you simply need to start and commit to the mindset. The path will unfold accordingly for those willing to force themselves to stay the course without compromise. So let's make it official and seal this covenant. Raise your hand one more time and loudly affirm with me, I am consistent. I will force myself to persistently execute on my vision. My habits will not be dictated by circumstances or moods, but by an unwavering spirit that refuses to relent. savor this moment and etching the feeling into your consciousness. You've crossed the threshold from which there is no turning back allowed. The doubting, the wavering, the empty resolutions end today. From this day forward, burning your dreams into reality is not a matter of if, but simply a matter of when, through the powers of forced consistency. You've been given the roadmap, the rest is now yours to execute on relentlessly until your greatest ambitions are made manifest.